All right, welcome to the deep dive. In a world absolutely well-flooded with information, especially with AI moving so fast, how do you actually cut through all that noise?
Yeah, how do you get truly well-informed and quickly?
It feels like a constant battle, doesn't it?
It absolutely is. And, a big part of that challenge, especially with AI, isn't just what the AI knows.
Oh,
What else? It's how effectively we ask it to share that knowledge. That's the real key sometimes.
that makes sense. Which leads us right into today's topic, context engineering. You might also hear it called prompt engineering.
Same thing, different name?
Exactly. So this deep dive is all about understanding the art and science behind how we actually talk to AI models, these powerful language processors.
And why getting those instructions, the prompts right, is so critical.
Absolutely. It's how you get responses that are precise, useful, and actually relevant to what you need. Think of it as maybe a shortcut to mastering interaction with AI.
Yeah, a way to get better results. Our mission today is pretty clear then. We want to unpack what context engineering really is.
Look at the key techniques.
Explore where it's being used in the real world, its applications.
And, importantly, touch on the challenges, too. It's not always easy.
Right. The goal here is really to empower you, the listener, to design more effective prompts, basically to get more out of your AI interactions.
And like always, this deep dive is built from a solid stack of source material, articles, research notes, the works.
We've done the reading so you don't have to.
Pretty much. So let's jump right in. What exactly are we talking about when we say context engineering?
Okay, so at its core, context engineering is really just formulating instructions, or prompts as we call them,
Right.
in a way that helps a language model understand what you want and, crucially, respond effectively to your specific needs.
So a prompt isn't just like asking a question.
No, not necessarily. It can be a question, sure, but it could also be a really detailed instruction, or even you describing a very specific task you want the AI to do.
Okay. And the main goal is giving the AI enough context.
Clarity. Context, clarity, and structure. Those three things. So it can generate answers that aren't just accurate, but actually relevant to what you're after.
So how does providing that context actually guide the AI? Is it like we're training it on the fly? Or is
Yeah.
it more just giving it extra information?
That's a great question. It's less about training it in that moment and more like directing its existing knowledge. Think about it like using a really powerful search engine. So
Okay.
if you just type in one keyword, you get like a million results, right? Totally overwhelming.
Yeah, too much noise.
But if you refine your search, use specific phrases, filters, maybe some operators, you get much closer to what you actually need.
Right, you narrow it down.
Context engineering is kind of doing that for AI. You're
Right.
giving it the specific navigational instructions it needs to find and synthesize the most relevant bits from its own huge data set. It focuses the search.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, can you give us a clear example? Like, how does this look in practice?
Absolutely. Let's use a classic example from our sources. Say you just ask an AI, what is photosynthesis?
Okay, simple enough. I'd expect, a basic definition. Probably like something out of a textbook. Fine, but maybe not super helpful if I need something specific.
Exactly. Generic. Now, compare that to an optimized prompt. Something like, explain the process of photosynthesis in simple terms, including the main stages, the organisms involved, and its importance for the ecosystem.
Whoa, okay, that's quite different. What is it about adding simple terms, main stages, organisms, importance? What does that do to the AI's process? Is it just giving it more data points?
It's a bit of both, really. You're telling it not just what to talk about, but how to talk about it.
Ah, the how.
Yeah, and what aspects to focus on, and even why it matters its importance. You specify the detail level, the key parts, the scope you want.
So that extra context and specificity, it doesn't just give the AI more to work with.
No, it actually instructs the AI on the kind of answer you're looking for. It leads to a much more complete, much more focused response. You go from a vague idea to a detailed brief, essentially.
That really shows the power. Okay, let's get practical then. How do you actually do this? What are the key techniques people can use?
Right, the playbook. Let's break it down. First up, specificity in instructions. Sounds obvious, maybe, but it's crucial.
Being crystal clear.
Exactly. Instead of saying, write something about history, which is, incredibly vague.
You could get anything. Ancient Egypt, last week.
Totally. You'd have no idea. A much, much better prompt would be, write a 500-word essay on the French Revolution, highlighting its main causes and social impacts.
Okay, so that tells the model the format essay, the length's 500 words, the subject French Revolution, and the focus causes and impacts.
Precisely. Clarity is king here. It cuts out so much guesswork for the AI.
I can see that.
Mm.
Okay, what's next? You mentioned providing examples, sometimes called few-shot learning.
Yes. This one's really neat. You're basically showing the AI what you want. It's almost like a little mini training session baked into the prompt.
How does that work?
Well, you include examples of the kind of output you want, right in the prompt itself. This guides the model to follow that style or format or even a specific reasoning pattern.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure. Say you're classifying animals. You could prompt it like this. Classify the following animals as mammals or reptiles. Tiger, mammal, crocodile, reptile, dolphin.
Ah, I see. So the AI sees the pattern you've set up. Animal, classification.
And it sees the examples, so it'll likely respond with dolphin, mammal. It learns from the examples you gave it right there.
That feels really intuitive, actually.
Oh,
Okay, another technique. Using roles or perspectives. This sounds interesting.
it is. And it can make a huge difference to the quality of the response, often instantly.
How so?
You basically tell the model to act like someone specific, adopt a persona.
Wow.
So instead of just asking, say, about relativity,
You could say?
you could say, act as a physics professor and explain Einstein's theory of relativity in simple terms for high school students.
Oh, brilliant. So the AI then adjusts its language, the depth, everything for that specific role and audience.
That's exactly it. It changes its whole approach to be more relatable or more technical, whatever the role demands.
That opens up so many possibilities for different styles. Okay, what about iteration and refinement? This suggests it's not always perfect the first time.
Oh, definitely not. Context engineering is very much an iterative process. It's rare to get the absolute perfect prompt on the very first try.
So it's okay to tweak it.
It's essential. Think of it less like giving a command and more like having a conversation, a collaboration, if the first response isn't quite right.
Don't just give up.
Exactly. Adjust the prompt. Make it clearer. Add more detail. Maybe shift the focus slightly. You refine it until you get the answer you need. It's a back and forth.
Like learning how the AI thinks and helping it understand your needs better over time, which seems to lead nicely into controlling tone and format.
Yes, because you can be really specific about how you want the information presented.
So not just what it says, but the style.
Precisely. You can specify the tone, formal, informal, technical, friendly, whatever, and the format. Should it be a list, a paragraph, a table, bullet points?
Crazy.
For example, draft a numbered list with 5 benefits of solar energy in a professional tone. That tells it exactly what structure and style to use. It aligns the output with your expectation.
Makes sense. And the last technique you mentioned is crucial. Handling ambiguity. We've all been there, right? Vague question, vague answer.
Absolutely. If you ask something broad, like tell me about AI, you'll get a very general, probably not very useful overview. Like you said earlier, maybe like a Wikipedia intro.
Yeah, my first tries were like that. Just getting surface level stuff.
Right. So instead of tell me about AI, a much better, less ambiguous prompt would be something like, describe how transformer-based language models work.
Okay, getting specific.
The architecture behind things like ChatGPT and discuss their impact on the tech industry. See? That pinpoints the specific area of AI and the angle you care about.
It avoids that broad, shallow answer and forces the AI to focus its knowledge.
Exactly. Much more targeted, much more useful.
Okay, so we've covered the what's and the how. Let's broaden out now. What's the real-world impact? Where does context engineering really make a difference? How can you, listening now, actually use this?
Oh, it's incredibly versatile. The applications are popping up everywhere. Think about education, for starters.
How so?
Creating personalized study materials tailored to a student's level, generating practice questions, even helping students work through specific academic doubts with clear explanations.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
What about customer service? Chatbots.
Huge application there. Designing chatbots that give really precise, helpful, and friendly answers. They need to understand the context of the customer's problem. Good prompts are key.
Makes sense. And for more technical folks, programming.
Yeah, big time. Generating code snippets, helping debug tricky bits of code. You can feed it the error message and ask for suggestions. Even generating documentation. Specific prompts get specific code help.
And research. Sifting through data.
Absolutely. Analyzing large data sets, summarizing dense scientific papers, maybe even helping researchers formulate new hypotheses by exploring connections in the literature. Saves a ton of time.
Wow. Even creativity, like writing.
For sure. You can prompt an AI to write stories, poems, marketing copy, even scripts, but in very specific styles or tones. Want a sonnet in the style of Shakespeare about pizza?
Maybe.
You could prompt for that. Or generate marketing slogans that perfectly match a brand's voice. It really enhances creative workflows.
Let's make this super concrete with that marketing plan example again. Vague versus optimized.
Right. So the vague prompt is just write a marketing plan.
What would you likely get?
Probably a very generic template, maybe sections like target audience, budget, channels, but with no specifics filled in. Correct, but kind of useless on its own.
Okay, now the optimized version using context engineering. Here we go. Act as a marketing consultant with 10 years of experience. Design a digital marketing plan for a small, sustainable clothing company with a budget of $5,000. Include strategies for social media, paid advertising, and email with a 3-month timeline and metrics to measure success. Okay, let's break that down. You've specified the role experienced consultant.
Yep. The context, small, sustainable clothing company.
The budget, $5,000, crucial detail.
The specific channels, social, paid, email.
A timeline, 3 months. And even metrics for success.
See how much detail is packed in there. That level of specificity transforms the AI. It's not just spitting out a template. It's acting like a consultant and generating a targeted, actionable strategy.
It's the difference between a generic blueprint and a custom plan. Night and day.
Absolutely. That's context engineering in action.
Brilliant. Now, of course, it's not all smooth sailing. No new discipline is perfect. What are some of the challenges or hurdles with context engineering?
Well, one big one is just the inherent ambiguity in human language. Sometimes we struggle to be perfectly clear about what we want.
Right, it's hard to articulate the need perfectly sometimes.
Exactly. So formulating those crystal clear prompts can be tricky for the user themselves. That can lead to less than great responses, even if the AI is capable.
Makes sense. What else?
Then there's model dependency. The quality you get is always tied to how good the underlying AI model actually is.
So, a less advanced AI needs even better prompts.
Often, yes. They might need more hand-holding, more explicit detail to get a decent result. It's like, trying to get complex answers from a basic calculator versus a supercomputer. The tool matters.
And it's not something you learn overnight, I assume. Time and practice.
Definitely. Getting good at prompt design takes experience. It takes experimentation, trial and error. You have to play with it, see what works, what doesn't. It's a skill you build.
Okay. Are there limits to how much context you can give?
Yes, there are contextual limitations. AI models have a limit, often called the context window, on how much information they can process in one go for a single prompt.
So you can't just feed it an entire book and ask one question about page 300?
Not reliably, no. You have to be mindful of those limits, which can constrain how complex your prompts can be sometimes.
And finally, this whole field is moving incredibly fast.
Right.
Constant evolution, right?
That's a huge factor. AI tech is advancing at breakneck speed. So the best practices for context engineering, they change, they evolve.
So what works today might be outdated tomorrow.
Or refined, or maybe there's a new technique. It means you really need to keep learning, stay updated to remain effective. It's not like learning a fixed set of rules. It's more like joining an ongoing conversation with the tech.
And it's worth noting, based on the sources we looked at, reliable places like OpenAI, towards data science, even checking as recently as August 2025, these principles are widely accepted. This isn't just theory.
No, it's very much a practical skill, and it
Right.
really rewards creativity and that willingness to experiment we talked about.
Which brings us towards wrapping up.
Feels like we've covered a lot of ground.
We have. So, to recap, context engineering or prompt engineering is undeniably a powerful tool, maybe an essential one now for getting the most out of language models.
Absolutely. By being deliberate, designing clear, specific, well-structured prompts, you can get much more precise, much more relevant answers.
It really improves efficiency no matter what you're using AI for. It's about making the AI work for you the way you need it to.
So if people want to get better at this, what are the key takeaways?
Well, first, like you said, experiment. Try different prompt structures, different techniques, and really analyze the results. What worked, what didn't, why.
Treat it like your own little science project. Test your hypotheses.
Second, stay updated. Follow reliable AI news sources. Check out official developer documentation from the model creators. The field changes fast.
Continuous learning is key.
And third, practice, practice, practice. Use it for real tasks. Constantly tweak your prompts based on the results. You really build this skill by doing. Every better prompt is a win.
It really represents quite a shift in how we interact with technology, doesn't it?
It really does. And it makes you think. We spend so much time talking about how AI is learning to understand us.
Right.
But through context engineering, It's fascinating to flip that. We are actively learning how to communicate more effectively with AI, developing this new kind of, I don't know, digital
It's
literacy.
a new language, almost.
Yeah. So what does this evolving dialogue really mean for the future, for human AI collaboration? And maybe think about how mastering this skill, talking to AI effectively,
Yeah.
how might that reshape the way we learn, create, maybe even solve problems in a world that's becoming increasingly driven by AI?
Definitely something to ponder.
Something to mull over until our next deep dive.